also thank the committee, Beryl Banks, Gladys Barnes, Jackie Bond, and Harry Banks. Before I start, I want to share with you a very serious problem that this morning in reading the papers, I read in the New England Journal of Medicine, a very serious problem that exists with us today. 73% of all senior citizens have AIDS. They have hearing aids, they have walking aids, and sleeping aids. Okay. At least I got your attention anyhow. This is really truly a tale of two cities. The first city is Harlem, New York. Harlem is not actually a city, but it's the size of the area and the number of people living in it with an estimated 300,000 residents. I would clearly say that Harlem is a real city. I hope you will agree with me. The second city is our beloved Sag Harbor. This is not a city per se, but is nevertheless a major metropolis given its huge popularity and influence and famous residents and spectacular history. I'm sure that those of you who live here and have been coming here for all the years will agree that this is an alluring resort town, which has a few thousand residents. What is significant about these two cities is the unique adoption of 6 decades ago of the Sag Harbor by scores of professional African Americans living in Harlem. The adoption started in the 40s. It did not pick up full speed until in the 50s, and like other areas in the country, Sag Harbor was different when it came to African Americans. The black immigrants from Harlem were the cream of the crop. Many of them helped to actually build the greatest metropolis in the world, New York itself. There was a great black professionals from other places like Brooklyn and Queens, to be sure, but I must admit that I am partial since I was born in Harlem, since most of the immigrants in Sag Harbor came from Harlem. In other words, the people who arrived then and even now were men and women who lived in Harlem, people who had distinguished themselves despite the odds as doctors, lawyers, accountants, judges, teachers, among those. Unfortunately, history has yet to adequately record this profound dual citizenship, if you will, between residents of Harlem and Sag Harbor. In due respect to the great civil rights movements of the 60s, which compelled white society to provide equal opportunities for people of color, the bicoastal residents of Harlem and Sag Harbor achieved a lot of their success without legislation, demonstrations, and other forms of activity. This is not to compare the late 1950s with the 60s. The civil rights struggle was a great movement in the city, in the history of the world. But what I'm trying to say is there's a great kind of self-reliance, certain kinds of drive, certain kinds of commitment, and others that prevailed and mattered during the 1950s. Subsequently, we became simultaneously a unique community both in Harlem and in Sag Harbor and another community like our world. We knew each other on a personal basis quite well. Of course, we partied together, we had a ball, and at the same time, we discovered that we put into practice a level of serious social, political, economic, and cultural cooperation that is still unparalleled. And we must not forget our local people. Without them, this great experiment would not have happened. Sag Harbor was like our backyard. Since we lived in high apartments, we did not have the benefits of the great outdoors to hold barbecues and other great outdoor activities, so we were really available to us in the rural section of Sag Harbor. In this relaxed community, we were also able to plan and map up our certain professional civil rights and other strategies on the weekends and summers that we took back to Harlem and ultimately to City Hall, Albany, Washington, and where we pursued greater rights and opportunities for our people. Forgive my serious tone. This is a festive occasion. It sounds like I'm trying to make a civil rights speech. I'm not. However, I'm trying to make a point that Sag Harbor was and is not merely a watering hole as a well-to-do for African Americans. The linkage between Harlem and Sag represent then and now a major success for our people. Sag Harbor is the culmination of hard work, talent, and love, and I'm proud to have been part of this fantastic story. I was born as what's called exposed me back in Harlem Hospital in that funny year to parents from Grenada, West Indies, who had arrived in the United States 2 years earlier with hardly any education and other resources. When they lacked what they lacked in education and learning, they made up more up in their drive and sheer tenacity. I remember my father saying, "Boy, I don't want you to work as hard as me." In fact, my parents admonished me and pushed hard. That predicted that I'd be a doctor one day, and my first job was delivering prescriptions in a pharmacy. When I turned 18, I was drafted in the service. I saved my country for 2 years, 4 months, and 9 days. And not coincidence, that's my number, 249. After spending time in the military, I worked in the post office evenings and earned my degree at Howard University in the day, completing my studies. And I started practicing in 1954. Throughout the years, I received appointments at various points from Howard University, the dentistry, the major hospitals, Department of Social Services, and consultant commission, and served on the Dental Board of Dental Examiners. I've always served on a number of committees, and I've conducted lectures throughout the United States in activity and community, and I've always served to economically deprived medical students. And I'm committed to my community in SARG, in healthy and medical problems. I am thankful for many awards that I've received over the years, as Vivian said, for my hard work and for my generosity and success. Among others, I was named the Dentist of the Year by Howard, Man of the Year by the Eastern Dental Society, and so forth. I'm still active at my age. I'm not getting those numbers. And I have no intentions of slowing down. I sold my practice a couple of years ago. My associate shared with me today, Dr. Redhead. There she is. And which one of the things I want to share with you that I swim every day for the last 55 years. I swim every morning, and that accounts for my good health. One of the most gratifying things in my life is my wonderful wife and family, Raymond and Charlie and his lovely bride. And but most of all gratifying in my life is my wonderful wife and family, and most of us, we enjoy drinking a glass of vintage wine and listening to romantic melodies of Billy Eckstine. Today I'm proudly honored to receive your award, not just for myself, for as many men and women from my native Harlem or elsewhere who saw the beauty of Sag Harbor, many into my second home. But I also remember the good old days when sex was dirty but the air was clean.
From a personal standpoint, I'd like to let you know that growing up in the Riverton, Dr. Redhead, we took care of our teeth of whole families, and in particular children, because he had a lot of patience. And not only that, but when you got in the chair, he would actually call your parents up and, really get the real story about you. He was like another parent to us. He knew all of our lives, what we were doing, and would do anything to help us. He was the definition of the word mentor. He really looked out for all of us and treated us like his own family. So that's from a personal standpoint. I just want to say that he's someone I really look up to. I've always admired, and I really appreciate just being blessed to know him. Thank you very much, Dr. Redhead.